Bonjour tout le monde. I'm very happy to be here at Seaspan today and VSY. We are so grateful for the work that employees and workers, just like those here with me today, are doing for the Government of Canada to produce the ships that we need, not only for defense purposes, but also for research purposes. And one of the purposes of my visit today is to say thank you to the workers at the shipyard here in Vancouver. Et aussi, c'est une semaine très importante aussi parce que c'est une année depuis le commencement de la guerre dans l'Ukraine. And I was meeting with Ukrainian families yesterday to continue to reiterate Canada's long and short-term support for the Ukrainian armed forces and for the sovereignty of Ukraine. Nous sommes ici pour Ukraine, pour les règles internationales fondées sur un ordre très important. Ça, c'est incroyable pour la protection de notre monde et aussi pour la démocratie en Ukraine. Donc, je pourrais recevoir vos questions aussi. I can take a few questions if you like.
Thank you, Minister. Chuck Jane with the Canadian Press. The Globe and Mail reported this morning about the discovery of buoys, surveillance buoys from China off the Arctic coast last fall. I was wondering if you can comment on whether Canada is considering updating its laws regarding marine research or perhaps even preventing Chinese icebreakers from entering Canadian waters in the future.
We are fully aware of the buoys and, as mentioned, extracted those buoys. We are also aware that this type of activity is not new, and we will continue to do what is necessary in the protection of our Canadian population, as well as contributing to the work that our allies are doing. Our Five Eyes, as well as NATO allies, are extremely important in this question. Anybody else?
Another question? There's a mic here if anyone wants it, but go ahead. Oh, here, do you have a list there?
No. I'm with City News, Minister. What are Canada's plans on those Chinese monitoring buoys you just mentioned and that were intercepted, and how concerned are you on Beijing's interventions in Canadian affairs, including interference in recent federal elections?
So prior to the holidays and the beginning of 2023, we released our Indo-Pacific strategy. And in the Indo-Pacific strategy, we indicated that we will challenge China where we ought to, and we will cooperate where we need to. And that is exactly the approach that the Government of Canada writ large will continue to take. But we have to remember that the Indo-Pacific is not just about one country. It is about ensuring that we maintain a Canadian presence there overall. And so here in Vancouver, we really see the necessity of ensuring a Canadian presence in the Pacific, given that we are a Pacific country ourselves. And as I said, and as you witnessed when NORAD shot down the suspected balloon over central Yukon last week, we will continue to do what is necessary in the protection of the Canadian population and, of course, our airspace together with NORAD and our American allies.
Jane Side with the North Shore News. I'm wondering how concerned should Canadians be given the recent activity with the spy buoys and the spy balloons that we've witnessed, and will Canada be changing its approach to our Arctic sovereignty?
So this is a great question. We have to make sure that we continue to do what is necessary to protect our Arctic, to maintain our Arctic sovereignty. As Defense Minister, I have been meeting with fellow Arctic defense ministers from all countries on the Arctic Council except Russia to continue this discussion of how we together guard against any threats to Arctic sovereignty, but also to address climate change realities that are affecting the Arctic and Arctic waters. In addition, we have to remember that Canada is investing almost $40 billion in NORAD modernization and continental defense. What that means is that over the next number of years, we are going to upgrade our defensive capabilities on this continent. We are going to be building a new Northern Approaches surveillance system to replace the North Warning System. We are going to put in place an over-the-horizon radar system, which, as it is able to detect threats further and further north, will protect us and will maintain and enhance our Arctic sovereignty. The work on continental defense, the work on Arctic sovereignty must be done in conjunction with Indigenous peoples. I have been in touch with Indigenous counterparts and Northern peoples to ensure that what we do and the economic benefits that will accrue from NORAD modernization will be shared among Northern communities writ large.
Thank you, Minister. My other question is regarding the any updates on the recovery of the debris of the object that was shot down over the Yukon. I know the announcement was made recently that the search has officially stopped. What is the next step in terms of how Ottawa is going to go about in terms of recovering the debris going forward?
So just to clarify for everybody, there was on February 11th a suspected balloon over central Yukon, about 40,000 feet up, which was shot down by NORAD. Both Canadian and American planes were in the air in order to ensure the protection of Canadians and Canadian airspace. The territory, the terrain is very rugged and very remote. Temperatures are very cold, and it was snowing very heavily. And what that meant is we had a number of different crews on the ground and in the air. RCMP, Canadian Armed Forces, FBI, Special Forces as well, in order to try to recover that debris. Over the weekend, the RCMP called off the search for that debris and wreckage. What that means is that we are continuing to work with our American counterparts who did recover debris off the coast of Myrtle Beach to ensure that we are extracting any data that may be relevant. But rest assured, our priority from a defense standpoint is the protection of Canada and Canada's population. And as the shoot down of the suspected balloon over central Yukon exemplified, that will always be our first priority, and we will leave no stone unturned to ensure the protection of our country.
Does the Canadian government believe that the balloon that was shot down over Yukon, was that military or spy balloon in nature, or was that just a research balloon or a private balloon that we shot down?
So I am not a person who will jump to assumptions without facts. And at this point, because we have not recovered debris, it is impossible for me to make a statement of fact relating to the origins of the balloon. At this point, we will continue to work with our American counterparts to ensure that we do recover whatever data they can from the debris that they have recovered off the United States eastern coast. And we will continue to ensure the protection of the Canadian population as well as our airspace.
Should we be concerned that the balloon floated over British Columbia the whole way before anybody really alerted the Canadian public about the balloon, the other balloon that they eventually shot down over Myrtle Beach?
I will tell you that the surveillance that NORAD undertakes is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They leave no stone unturned in terms of detecting any threats or potential threats in Canadian airspace. And that is why we saw on February 11th the shoot down of the suspected balloon. But I want to reiterate that I am here in Vancouver at Seaspan to thank the workers that put their time and effort every day to building ships that the Canadian population needs, and many of which go towards the defense of our country. As Minister of National Defense, my priority is to ensure that the Canadian Armed Forces have the capabilities that they need to protect and defend this country, and that's exactly what my priority will continue to be going forward. Thank you very much.